problem we have is the electoral management body, INEC, and the security. And I used to give an example. If two soccer teams are playing and the referee decide to look the other way, they will enjoy themselves. If people are contesting for elections, so they expect that it's like a soccer game, everybody wants to win. And you must not allow it. The electoral management bodies share more than 60% of the blame. Because if they do their work well, the politicians will have no choice than to follow the rules. They, the security, and the courts. I believe one day we'll get there, but I feel sad now that our electoral process is still wobbling. So we have migrated from candidate to beaver, which is a superior technology. Why do we still have problems? Manual voting, we have problems in this country. Electronic, we have. So where is the problem coming from? Is the independent is the electoral management bodies, INEC in this case. INEC has to sit up so that they will not throw this country into conflagration one day. And people must be serious. INEC must sit up. We should commission one of these internationally known IT companies. They will want to protect their image and allow them to build a system for us and also manage it during our elections. We can train our people, but they should manage it. That this last election, they say, oh, one director in charge of IT did this or did not do that. If you bring Google or one of these giants and they agree to build it and manage it for you, there will be nobody in Nigeria will not be involved. So it should be completely neutral. And probably when we get to that level, where all those who have smartphones will not need to go to any place to vote. You bring out take it, go to your unit and press the button and you vote. You can vote in your kitchen, you can vote in your bedroom, you can vote in your sitting room, you can vote in your car. Even if you're in the US, you can vote.
Jonathan contesting with Tinubu in 2027. This is about perspective, your domain for unfiltered news and political trends. Let's get into the analysis. Nigeria stands on the edge of what could be its most dramatic presidential election. We whisper in the corridors of power. Goodluck Jonathan may be returning. It's actually drafted by northern elites to challenge the unbroken Jagaban rule of Bola Tinubu. Meanwhile, peterobi and Atiku Abubakar cycle each other like warring allies turned rivals. And the question is, if Jonathan steps into the ring, will he split the opposition? Can Tinubu's decade-long grip finally be shaken? Today, we are going to unravel the high-stakes game of strategy and power in the electoral arena of 2027. Let's not forget, in late 2024, reports emerged of northern political heavyweights plotting to draft former President Goodluck Jonathan back into the fray. His one-term limit remains intact by law, making him a technically viable candidate, seen as someone who could unify against Tinubu's faltering administration. Key figures like a former Northeast governor and the retired generals, whose voices still echo in hale political circles, are reportedly mobilizing support in Bayelsa, the NCC, and across regional networks. Their aim, a candidate with experience, southern origin, and cross-regional appeal. Then, what happens to the ADC's boardroom? What happens to the coalition? What happens between Obi and Atiku? Of course, across the political spectrum, the African Democratic Congress, ADC, has become the unlikely meeting point for two former heavyweights, Mr. Peterobi and Atiku Abubakar. Their union could be formidable, but internal tensions are high. Obi's loyal obedience have vehemently rejected the idea of him as Atiku's running mate, some even threatening to campaign against him if he steps back into a subordinate role. Meanwhile, some analysts have actually warned that the opposition coalition may buckle under regional contestation. Looking at Atiku's northern base versus Obi's surging southeast and south-south support. And that is why I maintain that without a strategic and exclusive strategic framework, the ADC could devolve into a battleground of egos, or I would call a coalition instead of coalition. Let's recap. The 2023 election redefined Nigeria's voter map. Tinubu won with just 36.6%. Atiku garnered around 29%, while Obi pulled 25%. Yet the depth of tribal and regional realignment we are telling, Obi dominated the southeast with 84% and even captured part of the north central. Atiku lost his firm grip in the south-south. Tinubu's narrow margin underscores a fractured opposition. But that is what Obi did to upset the old order. Talking about the Tinubu's iron grip, his jagabanism, his political strategy. Since 1999, Tinubu's political journey has been a saga of unbeaten victories, from Lagos governor to political godfather, and ultimately the president as we speak. His influence transcends election. He has handpicked Lagos leaders, dictated party structures, and maintained an aura of invincibility. His 2023 win came amid controversy. Less than 10% of registered voters cast their vote for him, but showcased his dominance over systemic politics. So, talking about the zoning, regional balance, and northern backlash, because when you have the likes of Atiku contesting, you would ask, would that actually equate to the zoning and regional balance, since the North have had it for 8 years? So would it be sane enough for Atiku to get some sort of vote from the South? Nigeria's unwritten but deeply held zoning principle, rotating power between the North and the South, adds complexity to the 2027 puzzle. APC's 2023 tickets adhered to this norm by returning power to the South. A fresh Southern candidate like Jonathan or Obi may disrupt expectations, possibly fueling the Northern resentment, recalling the tension following Jonathan's 2010 rise. Atiku risks being labeled an overreach if he jumps in prematurely. So there are going to be opposition scenarios and political mixtures. Talking about Jonathan enters alone, he may fragment the Southern opposition or become the rallying point for centrists, but multiple contenders will likely dilute impact. And the question is, does Goodluck Jonathan actually have what it takes to do magic in 2027? It is a question for my audience. And secondly, Obi Atiku coalition, if successful, this may exceed Tinubu's base, but unity remains elusive in their camp. This is the bitter truth that people are not actually comfortable with, especially the opposition admirers. Then thirdly, three-way Southern rivalry, Jonathan, Obi, and Tinubu battling as Southerners introduce unprecedented intra-regional competition, posing serious constitutional and political stress. So each outcomes hinge on strategic alliances, party machinery, and voter sentiment. Let's assume now, if P2B picks the likes of RFI, what would the permutation be? Would it be strong enough to unseat Tinubu? Then what if Tinubu goes with the current vice president, or probably picks somebody? Then what happens if Atiku Abubakar decided to pick Amaechi in the coalition? So these are the complexity that we may likely see in 2027 election. And you need to know why this election matters a lot. Beyond personal legacies and party strengths, Nigeria's 2027 election is a referendum on governance. Economic hardship and democratic fatigue will now shape the scene. Whoever wins must offer more than ethnicity. They must deliver stability, transparency, and change. And the question is, what are the things that Tinubu would likely be campaigning on? What basis will be the charter of his campaign? Then, talking about the Goodluck Jonathan if he contests in 2027, the platform he chooses would be one of the most decisive factors in determining his chances. Let's break this down in detail. Jonathan has two realistic options, PDP or APC. Then in PDP, this is Jonathan's political home. He rose through PDP, ranks deputy governor, governor of Bayelsa State, vice president, president. Then returning to PDP would seem natural and could excite some of his old loyalists. However, PDP today is much weaker than it was in his time. The 2015 defeat fractured the party. An internal crisis has deepened since then. Then talking about the APC, on the other hand, there have been rumors in the past. You will bear me witness that there has been rumors in the past that Jonathan was being courted by APC power blocks, especially before 2023 election. Then, because his constitutional limits would allow only one more term, if he joins APC, he would inherit the incumbent machinery. But it would also mean clashing directly with Tinubu's power base, unless Tinubu himself steps aside, which is unlikely. Then the state of PDP and Wike's role. And if he contests with the PDP, what is the state of PDP? When you have the likes of Wike, more like a mole to the party. I mean, looking at what he's playing and what he played in the past as a former River State governor and current FCT minister under Tinubu's APC, Wike somehow to me has effectively acted as a political Trojan horse within PDP. His G5 alliance openly opposed Atiku in 2023 within their own political party, splitting the party's southern votes and indirectly helping Tinubu secure victory. Wike's faction still controls a large part of PDP, structure in South and part of the Southeast. With such internal sabotage, PDP's ability to mount a unified national campaign in 2027 is questionable, and it's more like it's not going to happen. So Jonathan will be stepping into a party that is weakened, divided, and under partial APC influence. That may not be wise. So what I'm saying here is there's no likelihood for Jonathan to contest. Then also talking about the political permutation if Jonathan runs. For example, if the 2027 ballot features Tinubu, peterobi, Atiku Abubakar and Jonathan, the outcome could be explosive and complex, like I stated. Even though this would give a room for Atiku's victory, citing that he is the only Northerner that is contesting. Because like I said, get me right, peterobi is not likely to go with Atiku. It is very, very possible. The obedience are pushing him not to. I mean, he's not taking the VP slot, because it is clearly obvious that the ADC coalition is completely Atiku's affair. This is what also the people from the Atiku camp are not actually telling Nigerians. So it's holistically the affair of Atiku Abubakar's presidency. Then, if peterobi by paraventure, goes back to Labour Party and contests under Labour Party as a Southern candidate, then Tinubu contesting under APC also as a Southern candidate, and of course Goodluck Jonathan contesting also as Southern candidates, that automatically would fetch Atiku Abubakar the presidency, because this is Nigeria, there's going to be a tribal card, a regional card, obviously that's going to be, and this would actually mar the chances of those candidates from the South. Still, the question still lies on the possibility of Goodluck Jonathan contesting, because according to the news, he might not likely contest. For example, Tinubu in APC, as an incumbent, he holds massive advantage, and that is why Nigerian politicking is always very funny. I mean, state mercenaries, patronage networks, and decades of political structures are all for Tinubu. His political history shows he has never lost an election, from his 1999 Lagos governorship to his national dominance. Lagos remains his stronghold, and through strategic alliances, he has captured large swaths of the southwest and built influence in part of the north. So defeating such a figure, especially as a sitting president, requires a united opposition, a very strong united opposition, which 2027's likely line-up does not offer. It's not forthcoming. peterobi is obviously going to move out from the coalition. I'm seeing that already. So that is for Tinubu. Then talking about peterobi, of course, he's still a major force among youths and urban voters, especially in the southeast and south, and some part of southwest, even the north in extension. However, his challenge in 2023 was limited grassroots structure in the north. If Jonathan, for example, joins the race, Obi's southern base would be splitted as well, reducing his 2023 momentum. Then for Atiku, a northern political heavyweight, but 2023 showed voter fatigue towards his candidacy after multiple failed attempts. If Jonathan returns to PDP, it could spark a brutal North-South rivalry inside the party, weakening it before the general election. So Jonathan being in PDP or APC, if he runs under PDP, he might attract nostalgia votes in the South and Southeast, and some goodwill in parts of the North due to his post-2015 quiet statesmanship. But he would also face criticism over his 2011 to 2015 record, which Tinubu's camp would weaponize heavily against him. Let's analyze this. To be honest, if Jonathan runs against Tinubu as two Southern candidates, the North becomes the key decider. Yes, because these two people are from the South and they have had one term each. I mean, Tinubu has already made deep inroads with Northern political elites through alliances with governors, monarchs, and religious leaders, which is the key, let's say, controller of voter in the North. Then Jonathan's past strained relationship with some northern blocs, especially during the Boko Haram insurgency, could make it harder to gain their full trust. As a sitting president, Tinubu's ability to direct resources and political promises gives him a huge incumbency edge. So in a short, Jonathan-Tinubu clash would be very difficult for Jonathan to win without a North-South grand coalition, and the current political landscape makes that unlikely. So in my conclusion, if Jonathan contests on PDP, he faces a fractured party weakened by Wike's influence and defection. Of course, influence of those in APC as well. Then the opposition will be split 3 or more 4 ways, giving Tinubu a clear path. Like I said, 2027 general election is going to be very, very clumsy. So his chances would rely heavily on rekindling Northern trust and energizing the South and Southeast, all while overcoming memories of his past administration. Also, if he contests on APC, he would inherit massive structure, but would have to replace or overpower Tinubu's political machinery, starting from primaries. But the APC gurus are seemingly to have even, endorsed Tinubu unopposedly. So these are the things that when you look at them, they seem so unrealistic unless Tinubu bows out voluntarily, which can never happen. So 2027 election is just going to be as unpredictable as anything, because Nigeria's 2027 election isn't just another democratic installment. It's a potential turning point. Whether Jonathan's comeback disrupt Tinubu's fortress, or Obi or Atiku finally find unity or whatever, Tinubu defends his throne. This is very sacrosanct. He's very, very strategic. No one would take that away from him. And he's a good politician. He's good at dividing and ruling. So for me, this battle will echo through decades. Who will rise? Who will fall? And who will define Nigeria's future? So this is what I think about 2027 election for now. If you find this video insightful, kindly like, of course, subscribe, and you need to leave your comment, because democracy is better when everybody is on cue for conversation. So please leave your comments. Thank you for your time on this Nigeria political discourse. See you some other time.